Hey, do you remember the time we were sitting at your house over on Stadium, and it was me, you, and Jerry, and we were sitting there talking about shitty internet service, and Jerry's like, "Well, I'll never have those problems at my house," and then all of a sudden, dude, you were like, "Well, aren't you fucking white?" And I fucking lost it, man. I'll never fucking forget that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to the Average AF podcast. We appreciate you guys coming back with us.
Yeah.
This is episode 2. We do appreciate all the support from episode 1. Last I checked, we had, I believe, 140 streams total.
That's what you told me.
That's, over multiple platforms, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. But we did get everything finally set up to be, pretty much everywhere. So we appreciate it, guys.
Yes, thank you a ton. Each and every one of you.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of each and every one, we actually had one listener from Canada and one listener from Australia. So don't really know how that happened, but we appreciate you guys if you're listening.
Yes.
I'm assuming they just kind of stumbled upon it or something like that. I don't know how the fuck we reached Australia, but
you rock with us, we rock with you. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Or ma'am, whoever you are.
Yeah.
Down, under, up, in here.
Yep. Whatever pronoun you want to use. We appreciate you. But yeah, guys, let's get into it. This is episode 2. First thing we want to get into is actually an album that I'm pretty fond of and wanted to kind of discuss and break down a little bit. I believe we're going to try to do some type of review. Maybe not on every episode, but relatively frequently. Because that's what, me and Steve do all the time. We just talk shit about whatever's on our minds.
Yep,
so.
Yep.
The first thing we want to do is talk about Cal Scrooby's album Unsigned. Came out, I believe, in May of this year. May 21st.
Really?
I looked it up earlier. I think it was May.
I must have just listened late. I think I might have just listened to it.
I thought it came out way earlier in the year, honestly.
Wow, earlier than that?
Yeah, I thought, because I've been listening to it so much.
Okay.
That I thought it'd been out for way longer than 3 months.
Huh.
But yeah, man, so I want to get your opinion on it and see what you thought. So yeah, where you at with it?
So on the Instagram post,
okay.
You put a spoiler.
I did.
That said,
yep.
Best album of 2019. I talked to you about this a little bit earlier, but I noticed these days, I think because of the whole digital age of everything now, the digitalization, is that a word even?
Sounds good.
Okay. I noticed that I listen to more singles,
right,
rather than full albums, these days, because before you had to go to if you wanted a single even, right, you have to buy the whole album. You may be able to find a single of the super popular songs.
So actually, fun fact real quick, I'm going to interrupt. Russ, Russ,
mm-hmm,
that's how he got the most famous. He actually announced that on one of his interviews. He said when he puts out albums, people only listen to the first couple songs.
Right.
And then it goes down and down and down as far as listeners. So he released one song as an album. And that's why if you look on his Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, he's got like 300 albums, but they're all one track. But when that comes out, I listen to every single one.
Uh-huh.
Right? If he drops an album, I'm going to listen to every single one, but not everybody will.
Right.
They'll listen to a couple and be like, all right, I fucks with it, or not, kind of make up their mind and go away.
Right.
He drops one at a time, and he's like, that's how I got my name out there the quickest. So
wow,
that's a real thing, man.
All right.
Sorry, I had to interrupt.
So, as a whole, it's very good. There's a lot of albums that I haven't heard because, like I said, I've been listening to singles probably more so than anything since 2016. Yeah, I know. And then, life, and it's just habits of going back to music that I already know rather than
It's easier. It's easier.
I'll tell you what, man, before I met you, like musically, I felt like I described it to myself as a drought.
Right.
Because I had noticed like I was listening to songs that was 4 or 5 years old and I was just like, I don't know. I didn't know how to give other people a chance.
Right.
And then when I came over, man, Delusional fucking Thomas. To this day, one of my favorite mixtape album, whatever the fuck it is. It is awesome. Top to bottom, 10 tracks, 40 minutes in and out. Dope.
Yep.
Dope.
You would have
rest
never
in peace,
heard
Mac Miller, man. Oh my God, a legend. But
I don't want to get into that.
Yeah. You just kind of opened up. It was like an ocean of, like, oh my God. Like, I remember one time I went to the basketball court just to shoot hoops by myself. And I put together a playlist right then and there on the spot and of Mac Miller songs that I was into at the moment. You know what artists, people that you mess with heavy, it's more or less you got 3 or 4 songs like at any one point in time that you really when I discovered Mac Miller, you had all his albums on shuffle. Right. So, and this is a Cal Scooby review. I'm getting off the subject. But anyway.
It's all good. We got time.
I had like 30 songs literally on this playlist that I was so hard into. Like, oh my God, that's a dope track. That's a dope track. That's a dope track. That's a dope track. And then, from there, man, I've just been, more open to, and I still need to get better at, discovering new people and new artists. But Kyle's definitely on that list. But to say his best album of 2019, it's hard for me to commit to that when I haven't heard. Okay, so let me
ask you this. Is it because you haven't heard much, like you said, you just haven't heard much content from 2019? Right. Or is there something out there specifically that you think you might like better? Or is it just the ignorance of not knowing? Because the reason I ask, if it's of not knowing, then you could say it's the best album you've heard so far. If you wanted to go that route. Right. Maybe not call it of the year. Right. But of the year so far that you've heard. Yeah. So that's why I'm asking, is there something that you think is better off top, or you just don't know?
Well, putting it that way, it's probably the best album I've heard so far this year.
Yup.
Yeah, for sure. I don't like the beats in and of themselves. No, listen, hear me out. Okay. Like when I hear the beats on this album, they don't make me start nodding my head. Okay. But, and in my opinion, it kind of what defines a great rapper, a great artist. They could take any beat and with the spin that they put on it, the style they put on it, the flows they put on it, they can make you, next thing you know, you're nodding your head to it. I felt a lot of tracks on this album was like that. When the beat came in at first, it was just like, okay, it's not trash. I don't want to turn it off, but I'm not nodding my head. And then by halfway through that song, just the way and the punchlines and the vibe of it, next thing you know.
See, and that's how I feel about it too, man. But like, I don't want to say the beats are boring, because they're not boring, and they're not.
No, that's the word. I don't want to use that
basic
word
either. But they're They don't do much extra for you. Like they're a solid beat, and it's about it. It's a solid beat, sounds good. But I agree that once he puts his flow on it, once he puts his style into it, and then just some of the like fucking like the comparisons to other stuff. Why can't I think of that word? But the comparisons and just the wordplay and all that, you just like, you start to feel like almost grimy. That's how I feel. I was like, ugh, like through the whole album. Yeah. So I just think in a whole, and I have other albums here listed that I know you've heard at least a little bit of, maybe some of them not so much, but I actually went to a hip hop site. I'm not gonna name drop or anything, but and they had every album released on the year, every hip hop album from January 1st all the way till now. Things that are planned in the future they had on the list and everything like that. So I actually went from January 1st and scrolled down. Now, obviously, I don't know all these artists. These are like everybody, like Underground, all this stuff, you know. I don't know all these artists, but I was like, okay, I heard that album, whack. Like, I heard this album, good, not better than Scroobies, right? Okay, I heard this album, not better. Like, and I just went down the list and all the way up until this was on Friday. So what was that? The 17th? Maybe 16th? What is today? Saturday? Yeah, so the 17th?
Yep.
No, 16th. So it's midnight. But, so every album up until August 16th, reading off of that, I couldn't say was a better album than his. I couldn't. Now, this is just in the hip-hop realm, which is predominantly what I listen to and what we listen to. But let me name a couple of these albums here just to get your opinion on them.
All right.
Like in comparison a little bit. So we talked about The Search last week by NF.
Yep.
20 tracks, much longer.
Yes.
You could say, well, definitely much deeper of a album, of a theme. And then
darker for sure,
darker. Probably just as good wordplay or close to it. Just as good flows, but I still think Scroobies' album's better than that one.
Yes, as a whole, and I would even argue he's got significantly it's noticeably better wordplay than NF, and that's my personal opinion.
I agree. I'm just not really trying to look like on his nuts.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
No. And like you said, that's crazy because NF's great. We said that good last week. Yeah. But I guess it just kind of comes down to the kind of... the vibe. Yeah. That's what it comes down to. I was thinking about this too because there's nothing necessarily about the album that blows me away. True. Necessarily. But at the same time, at the end of the day, I'm like, that's really fucking good. Right. And the album that gave me kind of that same feeling, which I know you've heard a little bit of it. I don't know if you've heard it all the way through. This was a while ago. But the Intuition album. Yes. Intuition and Equilibrium. Yes. I forget how many tracks that is. I think it's like 11 or 12, so it's a little shorter. But that gave me the same fucking vibe to where... the beats are great. Nothing like, super crazy, but they're solid. Right. The wordplay is phenomenal, and the flows are just smooth. And that album is in my top 5 albums of all time. Oh, wow. The Intuition one. Okay. And it's not because it's the best thing of all time. It's what I vibe with the most. I just love it. Yeah. On a personal level, it's... yeah. Love it. Right. And I might like Scroobies' album more. Wow. It's up there. I'm not... I got to listen to it more, I guess, and see how it grows on me over time. Because now it's still somewhat fresh, being only 3 months old. The Intuition album at this point is probably 5 or 6. So I got to see how this grows on me, but it gives me that same feeling. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Here's something right here for you. So I'm listening to the album. Flow's top notch. We both agree. Yep. But at the same time, I do not feel comfortable calling him or saying that he's the best he's ever going to be. I feel like he can get better. But then when I thought about that, I was like, well, then how? Okay. Because so from what you said so far, you consider it's a classic album in your eyes. I don't... A classic hip-hop item. It's a classic album for me. Okay. I don't know if it has the proper sound, like a Wu-Tang 36 Chambers or, a Jay-Z album or whatever. Right. I don't think it has that same sound or maybe production level. Right. I'm not sure. Right. But it is a classic for me. Okay. Okay. See, I wouldn't put it at classic status. But, then again, we got to define classic. I think there's a few definitions for that, just depending on who you talk to.
It's all over the place.
I mean, it's so subjective. So much of music, it's just so subjective. You can't really say, yeah, that's a classic or that's not one for sure. But I wouldn't personally call it a classic. So then, the following question would be, well, how do you think you can get better? I don't know. Like, I feel like, at the end of the album, I asked myself, so did I know Kyle Scrooby better than I did before I listened to the album? I'm going to have to say no. Not really. Everything that he spoke about in the album, I felt like he can go a little bit deeper personally as far as revealing, who he is and, on a more philosophical level, everybody talks about, I mean, he's got great lines. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Definitely a good rhymer, great rhymer, but the subject matter, I don't want to say it's childish or, or immature, but I think the next level for him would be to go, to the point to where he can really touch the masses with his, his words.
So let me say this I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I think I've been at least a little more of a closer fan for the last couple of years. I know you've known of him and all that, but to me, I mean I agree with what you're saying, but he kind of went from young kid party guy, right? Like every 21, 22-year-old, and then he did go super deep and dark. Not necessarily dark like NF dark, but like a little more personal in my feelings. There's a song called Anxiety, or maybe it's My Anxiety. That's super deep. And it's really relatable with what he's saying. Rain's kind of deep. It's more of a fun, deep song kind of thing. But then the reason I like this album is it's kind of has the same mindset to me as like Good AM did, where he's back to himself, he's learned a lot, and he's just having fun now with what he's learned. He's got a little bit of depth to it, but this album's more about just getting back to where I need to be and just having fun. It's like a start over. So now I'm excited because I do think he is going to get a little deeper again with the new, not necessarily newly found talent or anything like that, but the newly honed skills. I think he's gonna really take off with the next album or next project. And he's always putting shit out, man. He dropped the album, and then I think he dropped like 2 or 3 songs after that. Like within a month or two.
Yeah, I didn't even know about him until I came over the last time I was at your house. So I mean, as far as my review, that's all I had. Do you have any more albums you want to discuss?
Just a couple we'll throw out real quick. MGK, Hotel Diablo.
Oh, I didn't finish that one yet.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely hands down better though.
Better?
Yeah.
It's got a much different sound.
Definitely.
I love the album the more I listen to it, but from a hip hop standpoint, I like Scrooby.
Yes.
I don't know if you've gotten to it yet. I know we talked about it a little bit as far as my thoughts on it. Funhouse Mirror by Marlon Craft.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't listened to that one yet either.
Okay.
Nope.
Let me see. Did you listen to the new Logic album?
Yes. I told you I didn't like it.
Right.
I didn't like it.
Didn't like it.
No.
Now, I would say overall Logic's a better rapper. Overall.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean his songs are better or his content's better or...
Yeah.
I guess I just don't vibe with the way he chooses to show his talent all the time.
Right.
He's a better rapper overall, but I like Scrooby's album way better. Bars-wise, most likely I'd go Logic. I don't know. But he's more talented flow-wise, I think, and everything, too. Yeah. But Scrooby I just vibe with. I really do. I got a couple more here. I don't know if do you listen to the Schoolboy Q album at all?
I did. Didn't like that one either.
No, I listened to it one time through and was like,
yeah,
no,
exactly.
Not me.
Exactly. I felt like he took a step back. Because The one with that part on it. What album was that? Do you remember the name of that album?
No.
I thought it was a better album. I felt like he took a step back on this one, but yep.
Dreamville, the kind of collaboration.
I finished that probably a week and a half ago or so now. It's not better than Kyle's album.
No.
But there are some nice tracks on it.
There's some nice tracks, man, but like I just don't like albums like that have so many people on it.
Yeah, you say you felt like it was overcrowded. I didn't really get that vibe, but I understand what you're saying.
I don't know if it's just me or not, but I enjoy listening to full albums. Like Scrooby, I don't know if you noticed, had no features.
None. Yeah.
And then this is just, for me, jumping all over the place in style and stuff, which a lot of people like, and I don't think the album was bad at all, but it just felt like kind of like a clusterfuck,
right?
Almost,
right. And if you watch the documentary on that, you'll kind of see how it came
I didn't
about.
know there was one.
Look it up. It's on YouTube. It's the Dreamville. It's the making of the Revenge of the Dreamers 3. Yeah, and you'll see how it all came together and how it was kind of okay. It'll make perfect sense with what you just said. Cool.
Good to know. And then two more. One of them literally came out Friday. Chris Rivers' Gitu, which it stands
Didn't know he dropped another
Greatest in the Universe.
Oh, damn.
It is a fire album.
Okay.
To me, he has too many interludes. There's like 3 or 4 tracks of just like a 45-second monologue of him or somebody else or whatever. And I just don't like interludes, man. I don't like cutouts like that.
Okay.
I want to like vibe through the album. Maybe 1 or 2 if they're proper, but this is just like it just broke it up. I didn't like it at all.
So he could have left them all off and the album would have been fine.
Yeah, they didn't enhance the album at all.
Gotcha. That's the point of them too, and that failed miserably.
No, yeah.
Damn.
But the album's fire.
Okay.
The only competition for Cal's album this year that I saw was YBN Corday.
I started it.
The Lost Boys.
Yeah, it started fire.
Right.
It did. I need to finish that.
I don't know why I listened to it. Like, I don't know what brought it on. I've never heard of the guy.
Okay.
Oh, maybe, I think he did a freestyle on Flex, maybe.
Okay.
And I don't know, I saw something and just immediately went and downloaded his album.
Okay.
And listened to it, and I've only been listening to it for probably a week or 2. So I want to give it some more spins, but that's up there with Cal's. But so far to me, man, 2019 Cal Scrooby Unsigned is the best hip-hop album of 2019.
Wow. Shout out to Kyle.
Yep, shout out.
And Kyle somewhere. Come back to Ohio, man. We need you.
Right. Back to Cincy.
One more point I want to make about that, and then we can move on. So the album title is Unsigned. Why do you think that is?
Why is he unsigned?
Yes.
Or why is it
you just said
unsigned?
No. Yeah, why is he unsigned? Because you just called it the best album. Is this his breaking moment? Is there a reason? What are your thoughts on why he may still be unsigned?
I feel like I don't know if he does or not, obviously, but I feel like he's taking a page out of Gary Vee's book and realizing he has plenty of time. Because I think, I believe he's around my age too. I think he's 27, 28. Okay. Right around there. Somewhere around that time. And he does mention on the album a couple times that he either turned down deals. I think he did previously have a small deal and it didn't turn out the way he wanted. Right. Something like that. I'm not sure of the background details. Okay. But I know as far as why he's unsigned, it's because he's choosing to be. Okay. I do know that from at least what he's saying. Right. And given the talent that he's putting out and the frequency and all this kind of stuff.
Yes, man.
I believe him. Because, like I said, I mean, I'm crowning this album so far. And it's not like he has a huge budget, right? He's, right. You know, going off his own budget, making cheaper music videos that match up and do well against anybody else's. Mm-hmm. Sound quality, you know, just as good. So I think he's kind of to a point where he's confident in his talents and doesn't want doesn't need it necessarily.
Right.
And the right one will come along kind of thing. That's my thought on it. I don't know, obviously, but
yeah, I'm like I said, I don't know his life and everything, but I haven't really followed him all that closely. But yeah, I would lean to assume that he has offered some deals, but
right.
you know,
He's got to be.
More than ever, you know, artists are realizing their power, and you know that to read the fine print in these, you know, contracts that these, you know, labels are throwing at them these days, and you know, realizing that, hey, you know, you don't have to, like you said, time, and there's opportunities. You just gotta wait for that right one, and hopefully he gets it, because yeah, he's been working hard for a long time, man, and I'd just love to see something like that pay off for him.
Right. So we'll end it with this. This is my favorite line from the whole album, and I think it applies right here. He said, "We can take 10 verses and shoot it straight. Your best 10, my worst 10. You're 2 and 8."
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
He said, "Look, your best 10 against my worst 10. You're 2 and 8."
Right. Yeah.
You tried, man. You tried. You got a couple, but you ain't shit. So, shout out Cal. Like I said, from what I've heard, from what I see as far as announcements coming out, I'm not excited about any album too much more than this one.
Yeah, you know I'm a Drake fan. Drake promised to drop something this year. Yeah. We'll see if that happens. He's got 4 months left.
Right.
You know, October's his month though, so I'm on the lookout for something from him. But other than that, I don't think anybody else. Right. I'm really looking forward to it.
We might revisit this back, you know, at the beginning of 2020. You know, still doing episodes then.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll revisit it, I'm sure.
Yep.
To finally crown it and put in our research and all that stuff. So
shit, I got about a list of 30 albums I need to put on there between now and then. Yeah, I need a good pair
Luckily,
of
I got
headphones.
an hour to work each day, and I can have headphones at work. So
right.
I got plenty of time.
I can listen to more stuff at the gym. For sure, but I would need a better set of headphones just to be able to listen to, you know, the actual music more. Right.
Worth it. All right, man. So that's our review of the Cal Scrooby Unsigned album. I think it's the best album of 2019. Steve's a little on the fence just because he's not sure, but
yeah, I haven't heard much, man. But I like your point as far as saying that it's probably the best I've heard from 2019 this far. Right.
I'm sure he'll take that.
A lot of truth to that.
Cool. So we're going to go ahead and move along to a little section of current events just because there's some things that came out in the last week that I think are pretty interesting and nothing really crazy as far as, you know, well, I guess this one's kind of crazy, but we'll get into it. So the first thing, as of about a week ago, Chase Bank actually forgave customer debts on 2 of their Visa cards in Canada. They're actually bowing out of the Canadian market, and
wow. They're
basically saying you can have it, don't worry about it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have no idea gauge as far as how much money they just gave up.
Yeah. I'm sure. I don't know too much about Canada, man. But, you know, with the...
Or banking.
Yeah, that too. But, you know, they just seem to have their shit together a little bit better than us Americans. So if I had to guess, they're probably total combined debt, you know, under credit cards was probably one of our states.
Well, probably.
But, you know...
I mean, it's got to be billions, though. It has to be. It would have to be billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So
they're just like, you know what?
They're just done. So I don't know why the little bit of research that I've found actually doesn't necessarily say why they're pulling out, but they're like, all right, Canada, we're good. It's weird, man. So it actually made me think, which I don't want to get too deep into this, but billions upon billions of dollars probably is what they gave up, right? Plus interest and whatever. You got to factor all that kind of stuff in.
Right.
Why can't America just do that with student loan debt? you know they got the money. If Chase can give up 2 of their credit cards for the entire Canadian population.
Good point.
I mean, we're I would think a much richer country than Canada or close to it.
Right.
And
yeah.
I mean, like I said, I don't want to get too deep into it, but like if they can do that, why can't we do that? It just kind of posed
it comes down to greed, in my opinion.
Well, right.
You know what I mean? Americans are just greedy individuals,
Right.
capitalists to the
Right.
fullest, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was some, I believe in some conspiracy theories on things.
Okay.
But I don't think it's as simple as we make it out to be. Sometimes, there's some things going on behind the scenes that
Right.
we're just not aware of.
Okay. I mean, I agree, but it's just crazy to hear that a bank essentially gave back all the money that people owed them.
Yeah.
On 2 of their credit cards.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means, I don't know if it's all of the Chase credit cards or what, but it says on 2 of the Visa cards by Chase, they just said, yeah, you're good, man.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I have to look into why they did that. I think that'll give us some insight on.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I don't think it has any more information really. Basically, it says last week a gentleman went out to make a payment. He owed more than $1,600 on his card, and he was told he no longer owed anything. So he checked several sources, and they just said that Chase forgave the debt.
What?
Like, what? He said, I was amazed. But, yeah, I mean...
in the least.
Right. I don't get it. But, yeah, I mean, he goes on to say how, they usually, just banks in general, try to get every last dollar out of people.
Yes.
Greedy, like you said. Trying to get every last penny, and then they just abruptly left.
Yeah,
and said, nah.
Man, I bet, I don't know.
It's got to be so much money.
Yes.
I don't know. Just something that came up that I thought I was kind of impressed by. Like you said, I don't know. I want to know if there's more to the story, or if they're just like, it's
why
too much
Canada
work
versus somewhere else? Why?
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we need a little. I think.
I don't know. It's just regardless of the reason, they gave up billions of dollars.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, like you said, we're not bankers. We don't know anything about that business, but almost anything is worth billions upon billions of dollars. Even if it's a shitty market, and if for some reason you can call Canadian people shitty, which they're not, they're the nicest people of all time. Whatever reason, if you're getting 5-10 billion back from this little bit of annoyance or struggle,
right,
you're probably still going to do it.
Right.
I mean, I would, and I'm not even a greedy person. So, I don't know, I'm curious as to, the overall reason, and also curious as to if they can do it, why can't other people or other companies or businesses or banks,
industries,
or governments or whatever. It just kind of made me think about a lot of different stuff. So definitely interesting. Another one here though is Apple is actually offering a $1 million reward to anyone who can hack into an iPhone.
Let me see your iPhone right now.
Hey, take it. It's right here. You want it? Here you go. But it says all a hacker needs to do to get the $1 million is gain full control of an Apple device remotely without the owner of the device ever interacting with it. So basically sitting next to each other, phone on the table, and getting into it and controlling it. It says it can be on any of their platforms. So iOS, iCloud, TVOS, I don't know what that is, iPad OS, Mac OS, all the above.
Oh my. The entire infrastructure.
Yep. Now, a lot of people that I've talked to as far as Android versus Apple mention the security thing, which you know me, I'm an Apple guy.
Yeah.
I just think it's the easiest. I don't necessarily love them or anything like that. I enjoy the phones and Apple Music, and the camera's way better than any other camera. I don't care how many megapixels you got, but this camera's better than yours.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking about making my next phone an iPhone just to get since Android's been Android, I've had one. So just to take
So you've always had Android?
Always from the jump. And I don't know too much about the Apple breaches of the past, but I'm pretty sure I've never had one with Android, which I feel like Android software is a little, obviously it's a little more customizable and a little more free.
Right. It definitely is.
So, you would think it may be easier to hack, somebody's. But, Apple being the tech giant that they are,
right?
And you hear about all these breaches, it's kind of crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, to offer anybody $1 million to be able to hack into their stuff, like, I don't know about you, but I watched Mr. Robot, and, like, it's pretty impressive what they can do. So, for them to just say, do it, we're kind of giving you permission, I don't know if they would get in trouble for it or not. Because if you hack into stuff, you're obviously going to get in trouble for it. You just can't do that.
Right.
But if they said, hey, Apple's offering me this, I wonder if you're legally allowed to hack into Apple now. You would almost have to, because it's like an open invitation to make money, right?
Right.
It's like, we will pay you to do this to our network or our platforms or whatever. That's weird. I just thought of that. I would...
Well, if the company's allowing it...
Yeah, I mean, I guess
you can't really...
Yeah, but there's...
If you had a house and you was like, my house is dumb secure.
Right.
Actually, I want you to try to break into it. I'll give you $1 million so you can break into my house.
Right.
And you broke into it, but you didn't press charges. I mean, it's like, okay.
Yeah, but at the same time, if a cop sees you breaking into this house... you're going to get arrested.
Right.
So, like, I mean, I'm sure there's crime agencies and whatever out there that watches cybersecurity, trying to make sure people don't hack into shit. If they see you, are you still in trouble? Because a cop says you're in trouble.
Right.
Whether this guy's like, I don't want to press charges. He's like, I just saw you breaking and entering into this house.
Yeah.
I got it on my cam or whatever. You're going to jail.
Yes.
I'm curious now. But anyway, Apple's obviously a huge company, but $1 million is $1 million. They're not going to just offer that if they think you can do it. Because then if they put this offer on the table and somebody does it, they look like ass.
Yes.
So,
yes.
It's another interesting thing. But why do you want to go to Apple? Or why have you been thinking about going to Apple?
Just to try something different, really. I've always been discouraged by, they don't let you download music, which, I'm a pirater. I'm going to say that right here, right now.
We all are.
But yeah, and I get that. But, I really don't even do it anymore. I have Spotify has everything.
I was going to say I have Apple Music now.
So yeah.
I'm going
legit. But back in those early days, 2012, 2013, when that was huge and there was so many apps you could download that just download free songs.
Right. Pirate Bay all day.
Why the fuck would you go to Apple?
Right.
Like, and just have no customizations or, compared to Android. But, I'm not going to lie. I've always admired the cameras. Always in their photos, they've always been, and Google Pixel's really close.
I would agree. I would say they're close, but at the same time,
nice.
I think a Google Pixel camera is advertised for like either 18 megapixels plus or something more than that.
Yeah,
I think mine's a 12. So it's not necessarily about the number; it's about the more shit inside of it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, the technology.
I will say, because I did have a couple Androids and then went to Apple, then went back to Android and went with Apple now probably for the last 5 or 6 years. I will say the one thing that I do miss is downloading things off the internet from my phone.
Right, yeah.
Because on Apple, you can't just go to Pirate Bay and download something. It's not going to work.
Okay.
You might be able to see it in your files.
Really?
Like in the phone. but it's not going to play.
I'm not.
It's not going to play.
Wow.
Yeah. But, like I said, I mean, I'm a dad now, so I went legit and got Apple Music.
Okay, sir.
No, not really. I had it before that. But Apple Music's dope. And that's, I mean, I'm honest with people, that's like 99% of the reason why I have an iPhone. Which you can actually get Apple Music on an Android too, if you have an account.
Right, yeah.
But I don't customize my phone. I don't really do anything with it. I text, I do social media, and Apple Music, and that's pretty much it. And I just like the way that an iPhone feels. I like the design of it. It's sleek looking. But, I mean, I tell people I'm not necessarily the best person to ask because I don't utilize it as a lot of people do. But I take videos and pictures of my daughter and my animals and nothing really else special. So,
yes.
But I love it. I still love it, and I will probably be
they take phenomenal.
I'll probably be Team iPhone forever.
Forever. Wow.
Yeah. Calling it.
I don't know if they're going anywhere, but have you heard a lot about they've been struggling, Samsung is too, all the huge ones are, they're struggling to get people, like phones are just sitting now because everybody has a phone and they're lasting longer. Like, right. I don't understand how they really thought that they could drop a phone every single year. Right.
Well, that was
and
actually,
people would just continue to buy these phones.
Right. That was actually one thing that Apple did, I don't know, probably a year or two ago, maybe not even that long ago, but I don't know if you heard about it. They came out, like somebody found out that they would purposely either do something with the old software or because like if you have an older iPhone, like say you have an iPhone 7, you might not be able to upgrade or update to the newest software because eventually your phone just can't keep up. That's just how it is if it's a little bit older of a phone.
Okay, right.
And say, iOS 10 is the last one you can do. Apple was actually caught by kind of degrading their own iOS 10 so that your phone runs a little slower so that you get a new phone after a certain amount of time. That was probably a couple years ago now. I don't know when that was, but that was probably a couple years ago. But since that came out, obviously they can't do that anymore. Like you said, phones are lasting forever now because they can't do that, and now nobody needs phones.
Right.
Or they get an Apple Watch and they think they're good and, whatever.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Because now everything's shock resistant and water resistant and all this stuff. Like, I have my iPhone now says it can go down to, 6 feet without worrying about anything. And that's without a case or anything.
That's impressive.
I don't do it because...
Why not, bro?
Well, no, to be honest with you, and this is kind of a FYI for people that are listening that might not know, all these phones, even Androids or whatever, they all say water resistant. They don't say waterproof. Because and it will tell you it should be able to be submerged up to 15 feet or 30 feet or whatever. But if you do that and it damages it, it's still not covered under warranty. Because it's water resistant. It's not waterproof. So they're saying it should be able to, but if you have a crack in your screen or something, or if something's a little off, it's possible that it might not live through that.
Right.
And no matter what, it's still not under warranty. Now it has water damage and you're screwed.
Right.
So,
wow.
And I found that out from working for AT&T tech support.
Okay.
We had to deal with that all the time. People are trying to do warranty claims, and they're like, yeah, it got wet, but it's okay because it's waterproof. And you're like, man, because I was a supervisor too, and I had to get on there when people escalated, be like, man, go read the website again because it says water resistant.
Right. They
do not cover liquid damage. And I believe it actually says it in the very fine print, which nobody ever reads. Yeah. But, liquid damage does void warranty. And got on plenty of escalations about that. Plenty of people were pissed off, but at the end of the day, that's them hearing waterproof, but they never said waterproof. They said water resistant. So, or they might say it can resist water up to 30 feet. That sounds like waterproof to most people up to 30 feet.
Right.
It's not what it means. Crazy.
Yeah, I was
sneaky.
a little right. You're right. A bit deceptive, but
Right. But that's how all companies are. So that was a little current event section. That was just some stuff I heard over the week I thought would be kind of good to bring up, and just interesting points at least. But we did actually get some fan questions as well. So we appreciate everybody for sending those in. Keep doing it. We've had a couple questions that kind of need a little more thought sometimes, so we might push it off till the next week or something like that. But we'll definitely get to it. So keep submitting them,
please.
And I think they're fun. I think, especially in our first episode, I think that was probably one of the best kind of segments we had. So so let's start here. The first one was actually from, let me see, my buddy Shane. I used to work with him. Now, he did kind of ask this question in regards to our previous employer, but I kind of want to broaden it because obviously Steve didn't work with us or anything like that. So he said, and with this said, we were both myself was in management and Steve's been in management before too, so we're kind of putting that perspective on it as well. But he said, what things did you learn about people's lack of ambition to better themselves? And what did you learn about people by working, at your current place or a previous place? And any life lessons learned while working. So I'll let you go ahead and start that. What did you learn about people or life lessons or anything like that about either your current job or a previous job?
Okay, so let me give you a little bit of a background. Where I work, I was what's called pretty much an inventory supervisor, where we are in charge of whatever trucks come in with freight. We are to unload those trucks, and we have certain times that we are supposed to meet and all of that type of thing. The biggest thing that I learned from managing a job like that, it's really hard for me to look positive on any sort of corporation that is bigger than maybe a state or two.
Okay.
Like Walmart, I feel like it's way too big. They have to have some good stores, or else they wouldn't be as big as they are.
Right.
But the stores that I've heard about, or the one that I work at, there's just so much going on that nobody seems to be able to effectively manage the workload that it takes to do all the stuff. Like Walmart is a very ambitious company, but they don't have the resources that it requires to run this the way they want it to be ran. Is just not. So
everything that they do is at 80% rather than 100% if it was a little less.
Yeah.
I feel that.
And with the place like Walmart, I mean, it's entry level for almost anybody. As long as you don't have a felony, for the most part, you can get in. So, when the busy seasons hit, they just kind of hire anybody. So that, being a supervisor there, you realize that, I was very optimistic with my job when I went in. Hey, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do the best I can. I would change this. I want to change that, But you learn real quick that you're only in control of so much.
Right.
And especially in a huge corporation like Walmart. For example, quick example, we aren't included in the hiring process. So you would think what a department manager or, a supervisor who has to monitor these people, you would have some sort of input on who gets in the door. Right. I'm not saying you have to make the final decision.
Right. Who's on your team.
Yeah. Who you have to work with.
Right.
And no, it's just kind of this thing of, well, here you go. We hired these people. What? You're not getting stuff done? What's the hold up? We got you people. Like, no, that's.
You got shit people.
Exactly. And then they expect you to perform when they just give you whoever comes off the street, pretty much, whoever applies. You know what I mean? And I get, there's a lot of great workers that just is not going to apply to Walmart.
Right.
Or that don't want to work the shifts that are required, that you have to work. But they could definitely be a little bit more selective.
Right.
I mean, some of these people, and I hate to, I've come a long way in not, judging people as soon as they walk in the door. But I'm sorry, you can just look at some of these people.
Right.
With a
You can
physical
tell.
job, yeah, like,
can
you know
tell.
what I mean? It's just like, this is not going to work out. Why don't you save us both some time
Right.
and just not hire this guy or put him
Right.
somewhere else? Don't put him on my team.
You got to think of all the back end work too that goes into hiring somebody, and it's like, you know, this dude's a piece of shit. Like,
Yes.
you know it. If you had a 10-minute conversation with him in an interview, you know he's stumbling upon it.
Yes.
You know, like stumbling through it and not answering things fully. And he's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, man. I got a baby and
I mean,
you know,
like,
she's
when you
hungry.
show up to your interview in pajamas,
Oh shit! Did somebody do that?
people do that all the time, man. At Walmart.
No.
Yeah, when you like, they'll come in with Tweety pants and a, you know, I mean, it might not be a t-shirt, but it ain't nothing that, you know what I mean, flip flops.
Jesus.
People just and they'll hire some of these people, man, and it's like, well, we need bodies. I get it, but like, you know,
quality over quantity, man.
but Walmart is so huge. I think it's to the point that they can't do that. They
Right.
need people to work, and it's to the point that, you know, or they're gonna have to shut down stores, and good people are gonna lose their jobs. The people that
Right.
actually want to work and come to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Corporate America, it's, you know, over the years, it's just my opinion on it.
Right.
You know, I went to school for business. I plan on being in corporate entities, whether it be retail or whatever.
Right.
But, you know, just working in it from the bottom up and actually getting into management a bit showed me a lot about, this ain't what I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't want nothing to do with this, man.
So, same here. I mean, same for me. Like, you know, I've been in management. I've been in kind of training positions and things like that. And the training was fun. But that was because I didn't have to babysit people.
right.
You know, like I might have a class here or there, but for the most part, the way I kind of ran class is like, we're gonna have a lot of fun, but you gotta work first,
Right.
and then have fun. But yeah, I mean, what I've learned from just being in a management position is I don't want to do it. I mean, it's
in one sentence.
I think both of us have, obviously we have the ability to do it.
Yes.
And I think we would be very successful with it. But I don't want to do it. I don't want to have to babysit people. I don't want to have to look over their shoulder and act like a dad and like,
Yes.
you know, all this stuff.
Yes.
So, I mean, his question was about kind of lack of ambition to better themselves. And to that, I mean, what I've found is you can't, and this is something I asked right away to like my superiors, like, how do I force a grown man to get back from break on time?
Right.
Like, you can't.
No.
I can talk to you as much as I want. I can be like, I can write you up, you know, as much as I want and all this. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if Steve's outside on break and he's 10 minutes over his break, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Am I going to go out there and physically bring him back in?
Right. That's illegal. No,
Right.
Can't do
no.
that.
I like my paychecks. I don't want to give that up. I might yell at him or something. That's not me. I'm not a very aggressive type person.
Exactly.
What am I going to do if these write-ups don't work? I mean, I'll fire you. I don't mind doing that,
Right.
but
we need people.
right, I don't want to kind of be in that position of, do I go yell at you or do I fire you or do I assault you? Like, what do I do? You know what I mean? So I don't want to babysit people. People are going to just be who they are. Like your example, people coming in with pajamas to fucking job interviews.
Yes.
I don't want you here, right?
No, right.
And people are going to be who they are. If you show up in pajamas, you're not going to work worth shit. There's probably a statistic out there that proves that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you're not going to change people. If they don't want to work, they're not going to work.
Nope.
And you can get through to a couple. There was a couple kind of winning scenarios that I had back in the day about people improving and, you know, being top agent eventually and kind of things like that. And that makes me feel good. But every one or two of those, there was 10 other people that I just fired because they're not coming to work. They're not, you know, and there's nothing I can do beyond writing them up or firing them or whatever. So at the end of the day, people are going to be who they are, man. Don't stress over it. I mean, it's just kind of what it is.
Yeah, I think a manager, especially in a job where nobody's really passionate about what they do, which is kind of a means to an end. You know what I mean?
Resume builder.
Yeah. Especially jobs like that, you just have to focus on what I learned to do personally that got me through the stint that I was in it, is to just focus on building my own skills. Mm-hmm. What am I personally doing? Yep. Like, don't focus, because you're responsible for the results of your team, but once you'll get to a point, in a lot of jobs where you can only you realize you can only influence that so much,
right?
Because people just don't care,
right?
So I learned to just, okay, what can I do? What are the things that I can do to make myself better at being a leader, at being a manager?
Right.
And just take that's those lessons and, apply that to whatever you're trying to, your next endeavor is, because anything else is pretty much futile.
I mean, you can ask anybody that I worked with at that particular job for the year prior to me leaving. I just told them it was a resume builder. And eventually, it got out that it was a resume builder, but who cares? Right. I'm one of the better trainers that you have. I show up every day. I do really well. Just because my heart's not in it, you can't do anything about that.
Nope.
It's a resume builder.
Yep.
And I got some really good experience, and I enjoyed it, and I had fun. It's not what I wanted to do forever, especially not there. Yeah. But like you said, eventually it turns to, how can I do this to better myself? Mm-hmm. So it's not like I just took the position for a resume builder. It was something I was interested in. And like I said, something I believe I was relatively good at and had fun with. But eventually it turns to, well, you can't really help these people the way that you want to.
Yeah, exactly.
And then just one last thought on that. The last part of his question was any life lessons learned by working there. We did cover that a little bit, but I wanted to make a point here about the life lesson that I learned early with that job. This was back in 2015 when I started there. So this was a little over 4 years ago at this point. And essentially, to make a long story short, is I befriended a guy in my training class as we were being hired in. Uh-huh. We became pretty good friends and hung out outside of work and, just goofed off all the time. And he was basically my best work friend. I had friends outside of work and they're my go-to, but at work, he's my dude, right? And eventually we were both kind of in the running to have a leadership position. And it was known it was me or him. And we were kind of competing against each other. Now, like I said, this is one of my close friends at the time, and we both understood, this is a job and an opportunity to better ourselves, so we didn't want to hinder each other in, getting this position, but we also wanted the position, right? I didn't want to take it away from my friend, but at the same time, I need to take it away from him. Right. You know what I mean? And he felt the same way.
Right.
And we had conversations because we were really good friends. Hey, I hope you get it, but I also hope I get it,
right. Right.
And eventually, man, after it happened, we kind of, I got the position and we kind of fell off a little bit and didn't talk quite as much. And not necessarily that there was hard feelings, but it was different now.
Yeah.
And I still see the guy occasionally, when I'm out and about in town and stuff. And, we always say, hi, what's up? And we always say, we need to go to a hockey game and all this. Never do, but it's good intentions. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that job taught me early on is you have to be cutthroat to an extent. So that was one of my better friends at the time. Uh-huh. And I had to go through him, you know?
Right.
So it sucked, and it put both of us in a awkward position a little bit, but with people that you care about, they'll understand, and they want you to do better, even if they also want to do better in that same spot. But it taught me, man, to be cutthroat in the sense of getting what you want.
Right.
So, you know, I appreciate that one of my best friends wants this position, but I also want this position, and I'm not going to either dull myself down, or at the same time, I'm not going to throw him under the bus, or, you know, not do anything cutthroat in that aspect. But I guess maybe cutthroat's not the right word, but more of selfish in that aspect. I'm not going to, you know, like I said, throw him under the bus or make him look bad or anything like that. I would never do that, even if this is somebody that I didn't like or whatever. But it taught me to look out for yourself very early on, and that was something I struggled with. But eventually it got me promoted 3 or 4 different times within that company, and without too many bumps in the road, because I had an open dialogue with people like, hey man, I hope you get it, but I hope I get it. You know, like, and
straight up,
nobody can be upset about that.
No.
They really can't.
No.
But yeah, that's definitely the life lesson I took away from that job.
Once again, thank you for the user question.
Yep.
Hopefully we gave you a satisfying answer there.
Right. But yeah, shout out Shane. Appreciate you. He was definitely one dude that always kept me going, kept me on my toes. So, next question here is from my dude Brian. He actually worked at the same place as me and Shane did. But he said, what is your favorite sports memory you had as a kid, either playing or watching? For me, I have a couple favorite memories from playing. I wasn't ever like the greatest at sports or anything like that, but I always played football, or played football for a couple years anyway, played basketball for a couple years. And I have a couple cool things that happened there, but I was never a starter or anything, so I never like crossed anybody over and dunked on nobody. But couple things there, but really for me, man, was the World Series for the Red Sox in 2004.
Oh wow! Okay.
At that point, I believe I don't want to say it now, but I think it was like 112 years or something, or way up there.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Before they won a title. So, for me, I always grew up a Red Sox fan. There's no real rhyme or reason for it. When I was like 3 or 4 years old, I just gravitated towards the Red Sox. Mm-hmm. Don't know why. Nobody in my family is a Red Sox fan or anything like that. But they definitely weren't good back then either. So it's not like I was jumping on the bandwagon or anything like that.
Right.
But the World Series in 2004, I just remember being like 12 years old and staying up all night. My parents obviously let me stay up because it was a big deal when you're 12.
Yeah.
Your team's in the championship.
Uh-huh.
And stayed up for every game during the playoffs. And but when they took that home, man, I literally screamed, and I was trying not to because it was so late.
Yeah.
And I woke both my parents up, and they were pretty heated, not gonna lie. But then I was like, they won, and they're like, oh, okay.
All right.
Like, fuck you, but I feel it. Go to bed. But that's definitely my favorite memory, man. Definitely that. And then they've won a couple since. So, but that one's the first time one of my teams had ever won anything.
Okay,
huge.
nice.
You know what I mean? Like I said, in sports, we never really won. I don't even think we ever went to the playoffs or anything like that in any of the sports that I played. So we never really won anything aside from like a single game here and there.
Right.
So that was the first time to kind of feel a part of something.
Uh-huh.
And, kind of win it all with the team.
Right, right.
1,000 miles away.
Right.
But yeah, that was mine.
Just, I was thinking about where I was at when that happened.
Okay.
And I've never been huge into baseball, really. all like that. But that's when I had learned of the drought that they had of 112 something years.
I think that's how long it was.
And I was just thinking
105 maybe.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, so 100, over 100.
Right.
And just to think that, you know, somebody, I don't know if there's a longer drought out there than that, you know, before that.
Right.
And to think that, like, this team went literally a whole century.
Damn.
Without a championship.
Yeah. That's like probably, 3 or 4 generations?
Yeah.
Of people not seeing a championship. Yeah.
So just, you know, to any Red Sox fan at that moment was just like you just died and went to fucking heaven.
Right. Really. That's how I feel. That's how I felt. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll go into mine with this, but Cleveland only had a 50-something year drought. And there was 100. I mean, there's 1 million people up in Cleveland for their parade.
Right.
So, you know, to go double that.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right.
You know, it was a true curse. It had to feel like a curse to every Boston Red Sox fan.
Well, either way, I mean, with both of those, I believe the timeline for that started with the league starting. So, like, you know, that 112, the first year of that was when the MLB started. Or whatever it was back in the time.
Yeah.
And then same with NBA. That's when the NBA started or the ABA or whatever it was at the time.
Yeah.
So regardless of the length of time, it was still the whole lifetime of that profession. So either way, they're both incredible feats.
Yes, man. So yeah, my answer is kind of boring to that question. I never really played any sort of organized sports in school. I wish my parents would have pushed me a little bit more, but now looking back on it, I think it was more they didn't have the money to, and they would have put me in it. Then they would have had to put all my brothers and sisters in something if they wanted it. And it was kind of like, I guess none of you can do it. But if it's not the Cleveland winning their championship, I remember when I was actually in this room watching it on my TV, that TV right there.
Oh shit!
When Kyrie hit that 3-pointer over Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he hit that, I knew it was over, but it was like, oh my God. Like,
I don't think I took a breath for the next 3 minutes.
It's
with
like
all the timeouts and.
Oh my God, Cleveland is literally about to win a fucking NBA championship.
Right.
Like, it's just like, it was unfathomable that it would ever happen. With LeBron James, without him, it didn't matter. You know, you just never really seen it truly happening.
And then I think they were up by, what did they win by, 4 or 5? Not much.
It wasn't much at all.
But then at the end of the game, seeing the clock tick down 10, 9, and I'm like, they can't score 6 points in the remaining time. I'm like, Reggie Miller isn't
just
out here.
Completely right.
You can't, it's not happening.
Just completely.
And just for the last 15 seconds or 20 seconds, I was just like, this is real. This is going to happen.
It. And they came down from 3-1.
Right. Yep. Oh, actually, I believe that's the year that the Red Sox came back from 3-1 against the Yankees in the ALCS.
Oh, my God.
It was either 3-1 or 3-0. Oh, I think it was 3-1. Okay. I think it was. But, yeah, they came back from 3-1.
Okay.
And then took that same energy into the World Series.
Okay. Yep. Now I'm starting to remember that. Yeah.
Oh, I laughed at so many Yankees fans. I didn't even care if we won the World Series or not. I was like, 3-1, bitch. 3-1. What up? And that was, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the first time ever that happened in any organized sport to come back 3-1. I believe, because obviously Cleveland did it. And I feel like there was one other team to do it, maybe in a different sport, hockey or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't know that.
But I believe there's only 2 or 3 teams to ever do that. And I believe the Red Sox were the first one.
Okay. Real quick, though. If it wasn't that one, if that's not my answer, it would definitely... I didn't realize the significance of it at the time, but I witnessed MJ's last shot on TV as a Chicago Bull.
Okay.
I was watching that game. When he pulled up...
Well, as a Bull?
As a Bull.
What about the Wizards?
No.
Because he went to the Wizards after that.
Yeah, but...
Or did he go back to the Bulls?
No, he won his 6th championship. That last shot that he took off of Byron Russell, the step back.
Right.
Swish, I witnessed that shot live.
Right.
And, you know, I was young, man. That was in 98, so I was 10.
Right.
You know, I was seeing it, but I didn't realize the significance of that shot being that because nobody knew at the time Jordan was going to retire.
Right.
And that would be the last shot that he took. And even, you know, if you're a Jordan shoe fan, you know, like the significance of that pair of shoes that he had on.
Right.
You know, when he took and made that shot. So that would definitely have to be up there. But probably for me, what happened in Cleveland in 2016 was just beautiful.
That was definitely something to remember.
I wish I had some personal sports memories. I dreamed of playing on as a team, whether it be basketball, football, something.
Right.
You know, having that brotherhood and that you learn a lot of life lessons, you know, through sports.
For sure.
You know, that you can't necessarily learn or that you learn earlier, you know, in life if you go through that. But.
Yeah, for sure. So one last one here and we'll close out the show. This was actually from my best friend of all time, Jeremiah or Jerry, as we frequently talk about him. Been my best friend since like 6th grade. So, I mean, we're talking like, 15 years now? 14, 15 years, something like that. But he reached out to me and said, if you could take the place of any actor and have played the roles that they starred in, who would you pick and why?
Gosh,
so
Jerry, had to come with that shit.
Yeah.
In you.
Now this, because we actually talked about this a little before the show, kind of the viewpoint of this. And this is, he did say, take the place of any actor. So you are that like Steve is going to go play like the role that Brad Pitt plays, like, or whatever. Like, so it's Steve doing it. It's not Steve being Brad Pitt.
Right.
You know, it's Steve being Steve in that role. So,
oh my God, I don't.
Yeah. What did you come up with to that?
So immediately I thought like, well, damn, I'm not a huge movie buff, but what are my favorite movies? And so I really love Home Alone 2. I really love White Chicks, and I really love Step Brothers.
Okay.
2 of those movies are comedies. I kind of put Home Alone in the comedy category because it makes me laugh a shit ton. But I think being Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone 2 would be so fucking fun. You know, I definitely won't want to be the guys taking the hits. You know, but how did he not have the time of his fucking life doing that role? You know what I mean? Yeah, so that'd probably be.
You took a way different approach than I did to that, because that's a good one. For me, that's awesome. For me, the first thing I thought of was Tom Hardy. I think I could. I don't know if I could do it, but I think that would be also fun, but in a different way. I think I could be Bane. You know?
Oh wow!
You know what I mean? I think. What's the movie called that? Isn't it like Outlaw or something like that? The one that he came out with and he like beats everybody up with brass knuckles and shit. I forget what that one is, but that would be dope. And I think I could play that just because of my kind of mannerisms and how I act, my demeanor and stuff. Kind of talk under my breath and mumble a little bit and then punch people in the face. That'd be super cool. And then like Venom. Venom would be dope. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's me. I'd probably pick Tom Hardy's roles just because I think they'd be fun, but in a different way. Yeah. And I know somebody out there is thinking like the movie Bronson. Have you ever seen that?
No, I've never seen that.
It's basically a movie. I think it's based on a true story about a guy in jail that just fights everybody or something. I don't really remember what it's about, but it's something like that. And his dick's out just like half the time. He likes to fight people naked. Oh, like, but it's a serious like badass dude. But he just like gets naked and just fucks people up. So I know some people are out there thinking about that movie. I mean, since I'm picking Tom Hardy, I guess I'd have to do that. But
well, damn.
I wouldn't be excited about that one, and that one wouldn't be as fun.
Do you think you'd be able to do like a nude scene in the movie? Or what would your price be?
Well, so there's levels.
Okay.
So
for sure though. Yeah.
What kind of nude scene? Like
let's
sex
just say
scene, or like a shower scene, or
let's say
a locker room.
Let's say it's a sex scene, but they only show like your ass. They don't show any like genitals.
See, I don't know price in terms of relative to what they're actually getting paid.
Okay.
Because to me, a couple grand's pretty good.
Okay.
But because I mean, for real, if Jerry came in right now and said, "Hey, you don't need to, have sex with this girl, but you need to look like you're doing it.
Okay.
I'll give you $2,000 right now."
Okay.
And I'm gonna film it.
Right.
You'd probably do it.
Right.
I'd probably do it.
Right.
So as far as a price, that's kind of hard to say.
Right.
Because it might be kind of cheap.
Yeah.
But
what do you offer it?
Right. What you got? Like $75? $75, I might not do it, but $150 we might talk.
$125 on a nice dinner at Red Lobster.
Oh, for sure.
Done.
$200 in the Amazon gift card.
Cool.
All right, man. Anything you want to add at the end? Any plugs? Anything you're looking forward to this week or anything like that?
My son's birthday.
Okay.
I'm kind of pissed, to be honest, but he was cool. I love him.
Okay, what's up?
So he wanted the Kyrie Irving jersey, Brooklyn Nets.
Nice.
He wanted a specific one. He just got traded, or he signed with the Nets. So it took a while for him to start having the jerseys for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'd have bought it. Probably had it already by now. But I had to wait. And then with the way my pay fell and everything, I had to order it this past Monday. And checking out, it said 3 to 7 business days. Like, cool. His birthday's next Monday. I should have it. You said 3 to 7.
Right.
Them fuckers didn't ship the jersey until Thursday. And then it didn't really move until in transit until Friday.
Damn.
So come to find out, is the expected delivery is on Thursday. So I called him like, hey, I got some bad news. Your jersey's coming. Just won't be here on Monday.
Damn.
So he pauses for a second and then he's like, okay.
Well, did he already start school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like a first day of school thing where he wants it?
No, but he was definitely expecting it on his day. I told him I'd have it for him, but 3 to 7 looks like more like 7 to 14.
Right.
So.
Damn. Well, at least he was cool with it.
Yeah, and
it's kind of a bummer, but
yeah, and I was like, well, you're in school and I have to work and your mom has to work, so do you want to just do something after we get out of work, or do you want to just have your birthday on Thursday when I get you? And he's like, we can just wait till Thursday.
Right.
No questions.
Cool, man. That's
turning 9 years old, can't wait, and
Mature
then he was like, yeah.
Right.
We can wait till Thursday. I can wait a few days after my birthday for my party. So
nice.
He made it easy on everybody. So
that's cool, man.
Yeah, looking forward to that. That should be fun.
Yep. Well, happy birthday. He's not gonna listen to this, but happy birthday.
That's
cool,
all
man.
I got coming up, man. Really.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have too much exciting coming up, but just work all week. So great. But we appreciate you guys listening. For a second week in a row. Check us out everywhere. Average AF Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, on all the streaming platforms, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. So hit us up.
Check us out. Be looking out for giveaways.
Yep. We're planning on actually doing a giveaway here probably in the next couple weeks, something like that. We're not going to try to rush it or anything, but we're going to do some giveaways for you guys, some merch, some exclusive shit. So we appreciate you guys coming out and, have a good night.
And we out.